I will this session be focused a lot on privacy, which I think is actually, that's been something I've been passionate about since we had to, in my opinion, a bad data privacy effort that came through the legislature that the AG's office had to kill.
Uh-huh.
Because it monetized data, but it talked about protecting it at the same time, and it was kind of like protecting it from who? Now we're realizing that law enforcement agencies are working with private companies to collect data for purposes of camera capture,
Mhm.
right? So looking at things like ALPR data and others that are being shared, both with private companies that are, in my opinion, misusing it, selling it, right? So whenever you have an engagement with law enforcement, there's a crime get committed. Whether you're a perpetrator or a victim in that situation, your data should still be held private
Yeah.
because there's been no determination by a court of law.
Yep.
And the fact that these companies are holding on to it is a problem and a risk for everybody.
Yeah.
Second, they're also sharing it with federal government. And the federal government is using it now to overly police our communities, right? I think in that regard, we have to be very, very careful about what information that we provide. And again, those sensitive issues where law enforcement is called, um, and those of us from community know that those situations can be incredibly complicated.
Yep.
They can have people, that have no interest or that we should not have captured. So I think there's just a lot of things around how we protect our processes that is really important right now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the area that I'm looking at is like, what is the right role of the state in protecting people's information and protecting their rights in the face of an expansion of policing? We saw a pretty major pendulum swing on a lot of things policing. And so say what you want about me. I hope people know that I stay consistent.
Privacy is so important. I think there's cameras everywhere, not just on our phones, but you have ring cameras, you have cameras on top of buildings. And so, as your privacy is being recorded throughout your daily life, of just moving throughout Washington and moving, I think it's going to be interesting to see where that legislation goes. When we're talking about just protecting your privacy as an individual, kind of moving through, moving through the world, and especially in Washington state.